We're jumping aboard Eagle 5 this week to look back at perhaps the greatest space-themed movie of the 1980s. So remember, on this all-new episode, avoid the space special, don't get caught playing with your dolls again, and you know what? That nurse did give great helmet. Hello and welcome to Totally 80s and 90s Recall. This is a podcast where we'll dive into everything, the radical decades of the 1980s and 90s, through our way, from Mr. T cereal and Crystal Pepsi to Sega Genesis and Trapper Keepers. If you're new to the show, it's awesome that you've joined us today. And for our returning listeners and subscribers, it's great to have you back. I am one of your hosts, David, joined as always by a guy who started an online chat group of people who think Return of the Jedi would have been superior with Pizza the Hut instead of Jabba. It is my good friend, Rob.
I like Pizza the Hut.
Yeah?
I like a good pizza.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah. Hey, so today, a little disclaimer before we start. For the sake of today's introduction, the term ball refers to a formal social gathering for dancing.
Oh, okay.
We just have to come to this understanding.
Yes.
Because what I'm about to say could be misinterpreted.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Okay. So today's episode goes out to our upper class, high society listeners. You know the people we're talking about, God's gift to ballroom notoriety. You're always filling your ballrooms and your events are never small. The social pages say you've got the biggest balls of all. Some of your balls are held for charity and some for fancy dress. But when they're held for pleasure, those are the balls that you like the best. Your balls are always bouncing to the left and to the right because of all the dancing. And it is your belief that these balls should be held every night. Now, you're probably listening to this and just bragging or itching to tell everybody about your balls. Oh, you have such wonderful fun. Seafood, cocktails, crabs, crayfish. But if you walk away from today's episode hearing nothing, at least hear this. You fancy folks out there may have big, fancy balls, but the Totally 80s and 90s Recall team has the biggest balls of them all.
Ooh. That's a bold statement.
Well,
biggest of them all.
We have a good time.
We do have fun with our balls.
Yes, he's just been waiting for an opportunity to talk about balls.
Yes, we've
dipped into balls a couple times, but not as deep as what Rob went balls deep.
We went balls deep.
Well done, sir.
Yes.
Well done.
Okay.
All right. Well, you heard that other voice. It's been a really long time, but we also have back with us, joining us today from his long vacation out of traveling the world, the Movie Hound. Welcome back, Kurt. You've been gone forever.
I've been gone for almost a month.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I've done absolutely nothing, pretty much.
Boycotted us for a month. For no apparent reason.
I was not on your schedule.
Not on the schedule.
Who makes that schedule?
Who makes the schedule?
I believe that's you, sir.
I think it's Rob.
No blaming Rob on this one.
Nope.
It's all you.
We were told you needed a break. So we the way the schedule was set up, it gave you, because you started your summer break from teaching, so it gave you some downtime.
It did. And then as soon as I had to go back to work for a few days at a training, then boom, next day I'm here.
Next day you're here.
That's right.
So we're getting you back in the rotation. So after your long vacation, you were complaining before we came on the air today, but the schedule now sets up that you're going to be here like every other week.
Towards the end of the year, you're going to get sick of me. It's going to be bad. I apologize.
There's some upcoming time for you in the summer here, too. We got plenty for you to do. So you'll be here.
I will be here.
You'll be here, and your balls will be here.
That's right.
According to Rob. So
and today I just can't wait to compare our Schwartz.
That's right.
I'm just hoping mine's the biggest.
Perfect. So,
the most powerful.
How you use the shorts. It's not the size of your shorts.
That's how you use it.
Well, I'm in trouble both ways.
Our normal threesome today, we're going to add a fourth.
Wow, this is going to get weird.
It's always weird. We have a special guest, my oldest son,
my nephew,
and a kid that Rob knows. My son, Ethan. Welcome to the show, Ethan.
Hello.
Yeah.
It's good to be back on here.
Yeah, he was here once before when we did our 90s one-hit wonders. There was a little controversy.
Ooh, controversy.
One of his picks, he picked the Beck Loser song, and a lot of people online were not on the same page that was a one-hit wonder. So that's no big deal.
It's no big deal. But
he is going back to college in about, 2 to 3 weeks?
Yes.
So this is his last hurrah of the summer here to hang out with us.
Yep.
Nice.
So are you excited to be here?
I am excited to be here.
He is excited. All right. So, again, Uncle, Dad, guy you've met through uncle and dad, right? We
Sort of uncle.
Sometimes,
Guy you've met.
he's
Drunk uncle?
Yeah, he's drunk uncle. We call him Uncle Rob, like other people call people Uncle something. And it's like,
right.
oh, it's just that guy.
Yeah.
But we put Uncle on it so the kids don't feel weird around him.
Yeah.
That's right. So okay, all right. Well, everybody's here, Rob.
We're all here.
We're all in place.
We're all here.
So now that you've talked about balls, we've
A lot.
introduced my son. We've got
lot.
the movie Hound. What are we covering for this week's episode?
We are going to take a look at 1987's Spaceballs.
Ooh,
I love balls in space.
Balls in
classic.
space.
I think that's you could have used the word classic in front of that. The 1987 classic Spaceballs.
We could have.
So we could have. Well, before we jump into anything else, let's have some fun and roll that original Spaceballs trailer.
There it is, planet Druidian. And underneath the air shield, 10,000 years of fresh air. Let's get through that air shield.
We will, sir. Once we kidnap the princess, we can force her father, King Roland, to give us the combination to the air shield, thereby destroying planet Druidia and saving planet Spaceball.
Everybody got that?
Spaceballs, the movie.
Princess, that's the spaceship within range, sir. Good.
What's going on? Either the 4th of July, or someone's trying to kill us!
Now we will show her who is in charge of this galaxy.
If you do not give me the combination to the air shield, Dr. Slotkin will give your daughter back her old nose.
Only one man and his trusted companion can save planet Druidia from disaster.
Okay, Eagle 5, coming in. Lonestar.
First, they must learn the secrets of yogurt.
Yogurt. I am the keeper of a greater magic. The Force? No. The Schwartz.
Avoid capture on a distant planet.
Tell us to comb the desert, you hear me? Comb the desert! Found anything yet? We ain't found.
Battle the entire Spaceball army.
He shot my hand!
And escape the clutches of Dark Helmet.
I see your Schwartz is as big as mine. Abandon ship, proceed to escape pod.
What the hell's the matter with this seatbelt?
When does this happen in the movie? Give me bomb.
Spaceballs, the movie.
How do I know you're not making faces at me under that thing?
And may the Schwartz be
I have two things to say about that trailer. One, I didn't realize how long it was. It's been so long. That was a really long trailer. And two, that voiceover guy,
not good.
that voiceover guy is amazing. That's the best trailer voice. I love that guy. What are you talking about?
He was a little sleepy for me.
No, I
I
love
like
it.
the edit for the.
Yeah,
found-
bong. Well, they wanted to show it on TV. It's no good. All right. Well, the trailer gets us hyped up. So,
Yeah.
first question we always like to field and we're gonna start with Ethan. So he's new to the show. What do you remember about watching this for the first time, or when do you remember watching it the first time?
I remember that I was really little watching it, and actually, Kurt, I think it was your wife and your kids who showed it to
Yeah.
me, like New Year's one year.
It was a favorite of my
Good,
children.
good parenting by all of us apparently when they were little kids for the Spaceballs.
there's not much.
There's no
I
inappropriateness
honestly
here.
didn't understand a lot of stuff for liked it as much at first, but as I watched it more, then I liked it more and understood it more. So
Oh yeah, it's great. What about you, Kurt?
I liked it.
I know. First time?
I always like to keep the energy.
Yeah, I
high
know.
when
The
go back.
energy up. I liked it. You know what's funny is he writes that in his notes, so he doesn't forget to say it.
Oh,
I
no.
liked
For
it.
this question, I never write anything, which is why I always start with,
That's
I
right.
liked it.
I liked it.
No, I do not remember the first time, but I do remember as I was growing up that I liked it more than Star Wars.
Oh, yeah.
So
Oh wow.
That's a thing I found online. There's a group out there that they never saw Star Wars, and this was the first thing they saw. And then they saw Star Wars and they go, oh, yeah, Star Wars makes sense now. So after watching Spaceballs. So, yeah. So, but
sometimes you just got to go balls first.
So whether or not, that's all day. You started a bad thing. So
you started it high.
I'm sorry.
But, besides not remembering the first time, did you like it the first time you watched it?
Of course.
You remember?
It's sophomoric
Do
humor.
you remember going, yes, this is my movie?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
It's about balls.
It's about balls. It's not really about balls.
The running joke is balls.
Not all the time, but yeah.
They all have balls on their heads.
They do. What about you, Rob?
Fifth grade.
Yeah.
And I don't remember when I would have watched it, but I can remember
Babysitters.
Probably.
Yeah.
Julie the babysitter. No, I remember we were quoting it on the playground and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So I had to have seen
saw
it
it somewhere.
somewhere. I don't know that it's a movie my parents would have been into, but maybe. I mean, my dad, Mel Brooks, he grew up on Mel Brooks movies, so I imagine he probably thought this was pretty funny.
Well, I said it before on the podcast. I saw this in the theater. So in 1987, I'm 11. So it's right there up my alley. I didn't know everything that they were talking about, but I remember my dad was just like, hey.
I could see your dad thinking it was funny.
Oh, my dad loved it. He's a Mel Brooks guy anyway. Yeah. So I just remember in the house, he comes in, he's like, hey, we're going to the movies. It was just me and him. Mm-hmm. And he stashed popcorn and stuff in his jacket, and we headed out the door, and then we went and saw it, and he laughed. I just remember him laughing the entire time. Yeah. And I laughed at, the stuff that was obvious I laughed at. But I famously said before in here, I love Uranus bumper sticker. I remember he laughed so hard at that. And I was just like, is that his favorite planet? Or like, and so a couple years later, I was like, oh yeah, that makes a lot more sense now, doesn't it? So, but I liked it the first time I saw it too. Obviously, it's become like, it's just become a staple. We watch it all the time. And you introduced it to our kids. I think Connor said the same thing when they watched it at your house for the first time, and they weren't sure I think your wife said she wasn't sure if they were going to like it, but of course then they did. So became a staple. So a couple little things. When this came out in the theaters, other movies out in the theaters. So the weekend it came out, it finished at number 2.
Behind Dragnet.
So, Dragnet was number 1. Explain that scenario.
And was that Tom Hanks?
Yes.
Hanks and Aykroyd. Yeah, that's not a great movie, but that's fine. A couple other top 10 movies you would all be interested in: Beverly Hills Cop 2.
Okay.
Predator. The Untouchables.
All right.
Full Metal Jacket.
Wow.
And Harry and the Hendersons.
Ooh, that's a
classic.
That's actually you go on Friday or Saturday of the movie, you've got a lot of things.
Yeah.
That's when you hide in the bathroom. You
just keep hopping into
the theater hopping.
That's right.
So you've heard.
So you've heard.
That's great.
We would never say that we would do that. But it did finish at number 2. So I can't believe it didn't climb over Dragnet.
Well, that just makes it even a good joke. Now it's number 2.
Yes. Was there really that many people going to see Dragnet?
Well, I'm surprised that it finished higher.
I think that was a movie my parents would have
just
gone
because
to see.
it's got to be just because Hanks and Aykroyd are in it, right? Mm-hmm. Because I've seen that movie. It's not enjoyable really to watch.
But
you love it?
I'd love it.
How is that possible?
Dragnet? Really?
Yeah.
I've never. I don't know
around.
I don't know that I've seen it.
Pants.
I can't. Dan Aykroyd's a little too much in that one. Like he's too straight. He's trying to copy that Joe Friday guy a little too much, right?
Well, he is Joe Friday.
I know. It's just too much.
He's trying to copy that.
I don't like it.
He's trying to play a part the way it's supposed to be played.
I'm just saying.
He did his assignment well.
I don't. I
doesn't like.
I don't like that it was number 1. I just can't believe. Like, who was sitting at home? Hey, honey, you want to go to the movies? Dragnet's playing.
Well, and the list of movies that you read, to be honest, I think some of those movies were better than Spaceballs. I'm sorry.
Well, no, Full Metal Jacket and a couple are better. So
I'm surprised those didn't.
I wouldn't say
higher.
Predator was better than Spaceballs.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's got Arnold, but it's not better. The Untouchables is okay.
It's all right.
I wouldn't say Beverly Hills Cop 2 was better than.
It's all right.
So really only one movie, Full Metal Jacket. Unless you're going to put your flag on Harry and the Hendersons being better than Spaceballs.
Tempting.
I like Harry and the I like that.
No, you don't.
I do.
You haven't watched it in 20, 30 years.
That's true.
I want you to go watch it again and come back with that same opinion.
John Lithgow, it's got the whole crew. It's good.
The only thing I really remember is when Harry gets in the car
Harry
and
gets
makes
in the car.
bump.
Yeah, that's
on
it.
the roof.
All right. Well, this isn't a Harry and the Hendersons podcast, so we'll
But
straight
that
up-
will be coming up soon.
Yeah, that's going to end up in the trailer here pretty soon, right? We'll add that to the
I
movie
don't
list.
know if we own that one.
You should get it.
We should get it.
Just you could probably get that at.
I don't know if you can get that on DVD.
Oh, you can probably in the Walmart $5 bin or $6 bin, whatever it is.
You can get anything
50
on
now.
Amazon.
You can get anything on Amazon
That's
or eBay. You pick.
Yeah.
You can get either one.
Anything.
So, okay. Well, let's fire up Mr. Coffee, watch some radar, and for Lone Star's sake, disable that Virgin alarm as we boldly go. I mean, you know the rest. It's Spaceballs. You know, the score itself you can hear, like it's Star Wars esque. But whoever the guy that made the score was the genius that threw the pew pews in there. That makes the whole song. Like that's literally the best part of the song is the pew pew.
Well, and I'm sure it'll come up.
Yeah.
But in a lot of the research I found, the connection to the actual Star Wars movie
Oh yeah.
is strong.
Yeah. It's
Like,
one. It's,
there
one,
was- there
it's almost
was-
one for one.
Yeah, like Mel Brooks and Steven Spielberg or
George
George
Lucas.
Lucas.
Yeah.
They were in. They were
What is
talking.
this? What are
They
you-
were in cahoots.
Yeah.
They were in cahoots.
This doesn't make sense. You're putting your
Yes.
fingers together like they were together.
They were. They were.
And then they weren't
They were
together.
like one.
They worked together.
They'd become one.
They were not a couple
We don't know.
working together.
Well,
You know, I never have. I will admit, I've never seen a Mrs. Lucas. Right? He's never been in public with a Mrs. Lucas.
Never seen a
Is
Mrs.
there a
Brooks.
Or a Mrs. Brooks. Yeah, he was always with like Penny Marshall's dad and all
Oh,
those other
yeah.
ones. All the
Yeah.
Carl Reiners.
Yeah.
He was always hanging with those guys.
yeah, he was.
I'm sure he had a few ladies stashed at home. It's Mel Brooks.
Yeah.
Remember he did the movie It's Good to Be the King, and
Yeah.
then was that History of the World Part 1 or whatever
Yes.
it was? Yeah. Okay. So
Anyway.
all right. Well, before we begin reliving this week's movie, we like to give you the listeners the important information about the movie, and for that, we're going to toss it over to the movie hound himself. Or not. We're just going to sit here and stare at each other because we don't know what we're doing. Apparently, it's our first time recording.
The
Why
one
do you
time,
need the button?
I
the
didn't-
one time
you
I
got-
tried to wait for
First
the
of all.
button, it wasn't there. Usually I get
First
cut
of
off
all.
by the button.
Yeah. First of
You
all,
don't need the.
first of
been
all,
a
we
month
don't
since
need
I've
it's like the
the
Schwartz.
buttons.
It's
Yeah.
like the Schwartz. You don't
Yeah.
need it.
You didn't need it. You didn't need the
You
button.
never needed the button.
When I
All
say
right.
go, you can just,
just
go.
go.
I usually try just going, and then Rob
Rob
hits the
hits his
button.
button.
We just found it in a Cracker Jack box.
There you
Just
go.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go now.
Yes.
Let's see how I read today. It's been a
Yes.
month. I haven't
read.
well.
You haven't read in a month.
I have not. I don't read.
Yes.
All right, here we go. The hilarious science fiction parody movie, initially called Planet Moron, but then changed to Spaceballs, was co-written, produced, and directed by Mel Brooks. The movie was released on June 24th, 1987. It stars Bill Pullman, John Candy, and Rick Moranis, with the supporting cast including Daphne Zuniga, Dick Van Patten, George Weiner, Mel Brooks, and the voices of Dom DeLuise and Joan Rivers. The movie was made on a budget of $22.7 million, and it brought in over $38 million at the box office. Spaceballs has a Rotten Tomatoes critic score of only 52% and an audience score of 83%. So once again, the audience is much smarter than the critics.
That is correct.
Now, Rob, as David wonders why nobody has told him his ass was so big, please do a little segment we call Back of the Box.
Back of the box, back of the box. Box, 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 back of the box.
You notice he times up his musical cue perfectly.
Well, it's good to be the king.
It's good to be the king.
All right. Roger Ebert of the New York Post writes, cheerfully silly, great visual gags. The gags and goofy special effects fly at ludicrous speed as Mel Brooks, Blazing Saddles, Young Frankenstein, boldly goes where no comic genius has gone before. The Spaceballs, a ruthless alien race led by the dastardly President Skroob, Mel Brooks, are out to steal the air supply from the neighboring planet Druidia. Enter Barf the Dogman, John Candy, and handsome space bum for hire, Lonestar, Bill Pullman of Ruthless People, and their souped-up intergalactic Winnebago battle cruiser. Can they save Druidia while rescuing a spoiled Druish princess from a whining little runt named Dark Helmet, Rick Moranis, in time to pay off a mountainous mound of mozzarella known as Pizza the Hut? Well, that depends on whether you truly believe in yogurt, Brooks again, and the power of the Schwartz. So explore Spaceballs, and may the farce be with you. Approximate screen time, 1 hour, 37 minutes.
Nice. You know what I like that he's done now for his back of the box?
What's that?
Because he does this little, such and such, Dom DeLuise, Steve Martin. You've adopted Kevin Nealon's...
parentheticals?
What was he called?
It's in the parentheses.
Yeah, and then...
That's right.
Mr. Suggestion or whatever it is. Yeah. And so, you've just adopted that character. So, and then the other thing, too, of all the things Bill Pullman's been in, Sleepless in Seattle, Independence Day, you went with Ruthless People.
That was his first movie before this.
And that's what was on the back of the box.
His back of the box.
Yeah. I guess that was it.
I mean, to do back of the box, they didn't do the Spaceballs thing and look ahead.
True. Yeah, I know.
In this movie.
That's good. At least Rob stuck to his homework on that one.
That's a period.
Good.
Back of the box.
1987.
1987.
It was
what you would have read when you went to the movies on it. What shall we watch?
All right.
Oh, Spaceballs.
But
that sounds intriguing.
But I wouldn't have
Spaceballs.
So I wouldn't have seen that when I went to the movies. Wasn't that back of the box on the VHS? So that'd have been a few months later.
But it came out before. Remember?
All right. I don't know.
Came out while they're making the movie.
Stop it. All right. Well, if you're new to the show, the four of us are going to talk about some of the parts of the movie before we jump into our famous categories, where we'll share our favorite and maybe not so favorite moments from Spaceballs, and we'll jump off the deep end here with casting choices, as the Movie Hound referred to. We got Bill Pullman here. We got John Candy, Dom DeLuise. We've got Mel Brooks, a whole host of characters. So what do we think of the casting of this movie?
I think the casting was perfect.
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 I think it was good.
Good. Oh, not perfect. He went with good.
No, it was good.
Okay.
I can't imagine. Well, I don't know. I can't imagine anybody else playing him. So
that's why I went with perfect.
know.
Later on in our categories, it's an actor that we're not real fond of in the movie. And I was just sitting there going, I don't know if I can pick one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I found a few casting things. Mel Brooks wanted Pullman from the start, but the studio said Hanks or Cruise, so they could guarantee box office sales. But both turned it down.
Well, they were putting in lots of money because it was a big budget movie back then, so they wanted
Hanks had to do Dragnet, so he was busy. And 87, what's Cruise doing? Cocktail? Probably Cocktail, or it's Cocktail or Rain Man. He's working on two of those.
Both of them. Cruise doing this?
No. It'd be crazy.
So dumb.
I think if he's Lonestar, then it takes away from everybody else.
Yeah.
Like, then the movie can't work as good. And he's not going to be funny. Like, part of Lonestar's charm is he's kind of a bumbling hero.
Yeah.
Cruise can't play that.
No.
He would get mad. Oh, I got to be more heroic. I got to hang from the outside of the Winnebago, or I got to do something crazy like that.
Do his own stunts.
That's right.
So...
I was going to say, for Colonel Sanders, I saw that they had originally wrote it for Steve Martin.
I saw that.
But he had to turn it down because he was just too damn busy at
He
that
was.
time. He was doing
87.
Three Amigos, Little Shop of Horrors, Roxanne, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Yeah, and
all
then,
within that little 2-year window.
Well, and then that Dirty Rotten Scoundrels was in that window too, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a little after.
A
Planes,
little
Trains,
after.
yeah.
So, well,
I read that James Caan.
No.
Did you see that?
The Caan.
James Caan was the original choice to play Lone Star. Unfortunately, he was struggling with addiction issues at the time. A then unknown Bill Pullman won the role as Caan was deemed too expensive to insure.
That would have been terrible. James Caan?
That's what I thought.
Like, that would have been like, he would have been way too serious with Lone Star.
Yeah.
I'm glad that didn't work out at all.
I also saw that Tom Berenger was considered for Captain Lone Star.
Again, that's a terrible choice. What are they? Anyway, I'm glad those did not work out. So, Candy and Moranis were signed immediately. Those are the only two that Mel Brooks, I saw behind the scenes on YouTube, and he said he offered them straight to those guys.
Yeah.
Although the Mog character originally was supposed to have a dog mask.
I read that.
They're like, no, we're paying him all this money. We want to see his face.
Well, no, once the John Candy signed on, the studio said, well, we have to show John Candy. So,
I read, they said, if we're going to cover his face, we might as well go get somebody else.
Oh, yeah.
That's half the cost.
Oh, yeah.
And
by the way, you just kicked in about Steve Martin being way too busy. But I was doing some research. Check out Candy's 87 to 90. So Candy has this, Spaceballs, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. In 88, he's doing the Great Outdoors. He's got Uncle Buck. And then in 1990, he's in Home Alone, bit part, but a memorable bit part.
Yeah.
So that 87 to 90 run for John Candy is pretty big. And the year before that, or 2 years before that, he had Brewster's Millions. He had Splash in 84. He had Stripes in 81. In 86, he was in, I forget what it was, but he was in another movie, pretty prominent movie. So I'm talking from like 81 to 90, like every year, Candy's just in something.
He's busy.
Right? He's a busy guy.
Quantity
He's busy.
over quality.
That's a heck of but that 87 to 90, that's a heck of a run. Like, that's a box office. When you're doing Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, or not Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, you're doing Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, you're doing Spaceballs, Great Outdoors, Uncle Buck, and then Home Alone. Oh, my goodness.
Memorable characters.
Goodness gracious. Good job,
To be
John.
fair, Home Alone, he only was there for one day.
I know, but anyone who's seen Home Alone many times, he sticks out.
Yeah.
He's a major part. Even though he's a small part, it feels like a major part of the movie.
One of the better parts.
I think so too.
That whole scene where
He
the whole
keeps-
trip and it's all improvised and he was brilliant, I thought. So
I saw Brooks wanted Daphne Zuniga the whole time for Vespa.
Yes.
You said Daphne earlier, but I think it was
Did I?
Daphne. Yeah.
Well, it's well
have a
established.
small-
I don't read well,
Yeah.
especially names.
we both tripped over our words.
You're
quite a
good.
bit.
He saw her in a Rob Reiner movie. Thought she was great. She was hesitant at first because she'd never been in a comedy, so she wasn't sure if she'd be able to do it.
I also read that she had heard that Mel Brooks was difficult
to work
difficult
with?
human being.
Yeah, I didn't see
And
that
then,
anywhere.
Then she got in and she realized how smart he was when it came to making comedies and movies, and so she was. Glad
I
to be
only
part of the
found
project.
I only found one other thing in the internet about anyone else considered or talked to about. I saw Kim Basinger. That's it. That's the only one I saw as far as Vespa. So, but that could have been a studio thing again, where we need someone more famous than
I don't know
this person.
I don't know.
I got to be honest. Every time we do one of these shows, these podcasts, and it's a late 80s movie or early 90s, it seems like Kim Basinger's name was always up, but she wasn't in any of the movies.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like, her name always came up.
Yeah.
Hey, who's blonde? Who can we call? Kim? Oh, let's call Kim. No, she's not available.
Yeah. No. I don't. I kind of wondered too. Whether or not this movie was it felt thrown together, to be quite honest with me.
No, you're crazy.
So I do. I kind of feel like there are times where they're like, "Oh, got somebody, good."
But I think it's
And
supposed to be
so-
like that.
Yeah.
It's supposed to feel that way.
Well, yeah, and
Yeah.
so I don't think putting big name people in
No,
there
it wouldn't work.
was intended anyway.
I mean,
think
Candy's-
they were looking for.
Candy's a big name guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think some of those were used to draw people in. Let's
Yeah,
get
I
some
gotcha.
big name people, and then let's just slap some
Yeah.
unknowns in here and
Well, if
slap a movie together.
this whole movie doesn't work if Candy and particularly Moranis aren't there.
No.
Yeah.
I don't
that's
even
what
know
I mean.
who else
Yeah.
could do Dark Helmet. So if it's not him, so the woman playing the nurse is an actress named Brenda Strong.
Right.
She would go on to play a famous part in Seinfeld, Sue Ellen Mischke, the O. Henry Candy heiress, and she was also the narrator for the TV show Desperate Housewives. So she went on to a great career.
Yeah. I was reading there was kind of the extra people in this movie, and some people uncredited, but also the lady that was the snobby, not waitress, she was the snobby store owner
No.
in Pretty Woman.
Oh, yes.
And I think she was the nurse.
No, the nurse was Brenda Strong.
No, who was
Different
she?
lady.
Trying to think of which one
Was
she
she
was.
the
but-
twins?
I don't remember.
No,
she was in here.
Doublemint twins.
Yeah.
The Doublemint twins.
Yeah.
Chew your
Chew
gum.
your gum. Chew your gum.
Yeah. So, and then of course we got a lot of other bit characters. You
Yeah.
got Michael Winslow, the Police
Yeah.
Academy sounds guy. The Dink Dinks. You've got the little guy from the little guy Warwick is his
Oh, yeah.
name.
Warwick Davis.
What's he from? Legend
Willow.
or Willow?
Willow,
That's what it
yeah,
was. Yeah.
yeah.
So
Jim J. Bullock.
Jim J. Bullock
Jim J.
just running around. Yeah. He's Prince Valium.
Prince Valium.
Yeah.
Sleeping
so
Beauty?
Sleeping Beauty. So yeah. So overall,
Mrs. Valiant. Oh, I'm sorry. It's there.
It's there.
So overall, great cast. Everything works real
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
So interesting facts. You guys find anything interesting about this movie?
I found that it says, along with Caddyshack 2, Beetlejuice, and Big, all 1988, this movie is notable for containing the F word in a movie rated PG.
No.
by the Modern Picture Association of America during the early years of the PG-13 rating. Interestingly, the original video label erroneously states that this movie was rated PG-13. So,
okay.
Yeah, so it's one of the only movies that had a PG-13 rating and still used the F word.
Good job.
Yeah, there you go. I think I only used it once, a couple times. Not very often.
If it's 13, it's probably only once.
Yeah, it was once that I could catch. So.
They had a Spaceballs book written, and I saw that it was written by the Goosebumps author R.L. Stein.
But under a different name.
Yeah, his pen name was Jovial Bob Stein.
Jovial.
So I guess he thought that was funny. So, Ethan, you got any fun facts you found?
Something I did find is that it goes back to the cast list area. I found out that one of the voices of the Dinks happens to be Phil Hartman.
Oh, that's right. I thought I saw that somewhere.
So he voiced them in an uncredited role. So I found that
there were
pretty
quite a
interesting.
few uncredited roles in here.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I didn't see
One
that
of the Dinks was also Tony Cox, and he played an Ewok.
He did.
Yeah, he played.
He also played the genius that stole. In Me, Myself, and Irene stole Jim Carrey's wife from him. He was the little guy, and he's in Bad Santa. He's the elf in Bad Santa. So he's gone on to an illustrious.
He's got a good
career as well. So
interesting facts about this movie for me that I'd never noticed before was that his tie is male genitalia.
Of course, everybody knows that.
I never noticed it.
Really?
I never looked. I never paid attention.
The whole movie, as he said, is based on balls and
I never noticed it.
The whole thing's based on dick jokes. It's a dick joke right in front of your face.
I know. Never noticed it.
Immediately.
Yeah,
Never noticed the dick in his face.
That's right. Never been accused of that one. Rob says, I've always noticed.
Rob, so many in my face. Sometimes I just don't notice.
They're just coming at me. And then that's gonna leave a mark.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. when he gets up, that's going to leave a mark.
I found a chat room online, and somebody said, "When's the first time you ever heard that?" And everybody was saying Tommy Boy.
No,
but no, this was
Spaceballs.
This is the first time you ever heard.
There's an ad lib by Candy,
right?
So we talked about how George Lucas had to give him permission. Well, he called and got permission because he wanted to make sure. And then George Lucas said he could do basically anything he wanted. He just couldn't sell any merchandise because he didn't want to get Star Wars merchandise mixed up with Spaceballs merchandise, which is why we have the bit in the movie about merchandising. But George Lucas also, because he wanted the space effects to look as good as possible, his Industrial Light and Magic studio did all the space effects shots of the spaceships so they look exactly like the spaceships in Star Wars.
And so 1/5 of the budget was... Actually, more than 1/5 of the budget was just that
special effects. Yeah.
Did you see that the Millennium Falcon is in the movie?
Oh yes,
it's in
the diner.
It's at the diner.
At the diner.
It's a good
but they
little
didn't want to pay
Easter.
the extra money to have it flying, so that's why it's parked.
I know.
Yeah.
So I wonder, they're inside getting food, so they must have just crisscrossed, like Chewie and Han are on their way outside or something.
Well, they were storing the cargo.
I had read that George Lucas had asked that. Captain Lonestar not be too close to
Han Solo. So they dressed him as?
So they did Indiana Jones.
Indiana Jones, yeah.
So Harrison Ford said, no Han Solo, but you can do my other character.
That's right. I thought that was a brilliant move on Mel Brooks' part. He's like, oh, okay, not Han Solo? Okay, we'll do Indiana Jones.
Yeah. We're getting something.
That's right.
So
one interesting one I found was the cast and crew of Spaceballs share more than 20 Academy Award nominations and wins. Wow. But, of course, none of them were for Spaceballs.
Well, no.
But the only award the movie won was for Worst Picture in the 1987 Stinkers Bad Movie Awards.
That's insane.
Beating out one of your favorites, David.
Dragnet?
The Garbage Pail Kids.
Okay.
That is literally insane.
Earlier,
that movie's horrific.
Okay, so earlier I was making a comment, and I stuttered.
Okay.
And I paused, and it was because I don't know that I find this movie great.
Oh,
and I'm of the minority. I know
what
I'm of the minority in this room. So
you are out of your mind. Actually,
there are some really funny parts that I laughed out loud, but I watching it again.
First of all, you can take this stance all you want. This movie's not worse than Garbage Pail Kids.
I agree with
all
that.
Right, Garbage Pail Kids is an absolutely horrendous movie.
I do find that.
Like that.
It also beat out Ishtar, Leonard Part 6, and Who's That Girl?
Leonard Part 6 is also just horrible. That's that Bill Cosby thing.
That we determined there was not a 1 through 5.
No. They said the way the movie sets up is they're supposed to be a 1 through 5. You just didn't get to see them.
Yeah.
And so it just starts at 6.
Because I remember you guys brought it up in a previous episode. I go, oh, so parts
Horrible.
1 through 5, and you're like, there aren't
5 others. No, it's absolutely horrible.
Anyway,
that is offensive, by the way. That one worst of the year. That's just terrible.
I don't think it's that bad, but it's
first of all, it's not bad at all. All right. Oh my goodness. You're going to cause a lot of problems on the show today. That's what's going to go on.
I also saw that Mel Brooks' lawyer really likes the movie because his lawyer's name is Alan U. Schwartz.
Oh, nice.
So he had a very powerful Schwartz.
He was the Schwartz. He had his own Schwartz.
And knowing Mel Brooks, that was intentional.
Of course.
Yeah.
May the Schwartz be with you. That was
everything.
That was
intentional.
Intentional shot across the ballot.
Oh, yeah.
My lawyer is very much a part of this movie making. So.
Did you see that Skroob is basically just Brooks backwards? They just had to move the R around.
What's it called? An anagram?
Yeah.
Is that right, Rob?
I don't know.
But it didn't work, so they had to move the R.
Yeah.
So it actually sounded
It somewhat works. Because if you did Brooks straight backwards,
President
Skroob?
Skroob. I don't read or speak.
Yeah.
I've been drinking.
Yes.
It's not Rob today, it's me.
We've been drinking.
You got any other facts there you want to share?
Something else I did find is that the color patterns when Spaceball 1 hits ludicrous speed are similar to the ones in Stanley Kubrick's 2001: A Space Odyssey, when the moment travels across space via a multicolored wormhole.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, see,
he can read. I can't.
Yeah.
The basis of this
he did not stumble over anything, and that was intense.
Yes.
There was a lot of vowels,
multi-syllabic words in there. Well done.
So, Star Wars is the basis of this, but there's other sci-fi movies he's also borrowing from. Well, we got Aliens, we've got Space Odyssey,
Star Trek,
2001, Star Trek.
Well, they make fun of. There's a little Wizard of Oz in there too.
Wizard of Oz, yeah.
I'm melting.
Technically isn't, but technically isn't Snow White getting a shot too? Because the Dink Dink song is basically the dwarves singing. So same thing. All right. Well, so questions about the movie or any plot holes. Do you have any questions about, obviously, because Rob hates the movie, he might have a couple questions, but we'll start with you. Hater, you got any questions about the movie? Plot holes?
Are you married to David? Because are you the hater of all things
He's
now?
the hater of all things.
I don't hate it. I just don't think it's funny as
Laurel will fight for her title, so don't think you're just taking that away from her.
I believe she likes this movie.
Does Laurel like this movie? She does.
She loves this movie.
Okay. I couldn't. It's hard to find a plot hole.
Gotcha.
In a movie that has no plot.
Okay, it does have a plot, but I do have one, right?
Well, okay, I put the entire premise of the movie hits a major plot hole.
Yeah.
When the roof of Princess Vespa's ship opens for her and Barf to talk and rescue.
Yeah.
The main point of the movie is that planet Spaceball is running out of air and Druidia has air, but it's obvious Vespa and Barf can breathe perfectly fine with zero air during their talking and climbing the ladder to Lone Star's ship.
That is correct. I am with that.
Yeah.
I also don't understand why President Skroob, he's talking and breathing fine, so why does he have to breathe out of that can? What is it?
Just wanted that good
Is
fresh
it just
air.
like a shot of air or something? Like you would take a shot?
Well, in modern day times, you can go to
oxygen bar.
oxygen bars.
So the people are doing it now.
So, all right. Well, here's my plot question. Not a hole, just a question. So the whole thing is based on they're going to kidnap Princess Vespa to hold her hostage to get air, so they can get the combo to the shield and get on Druidia. So she's getting married that day. They're on their way to the planet. If she doesn't run away from her wedding and fly away, what was their plan to kidnap her? They can't get through the shield to get on the planet. So what was their first version of kidnapping her? Because she's getting married. They don't know. They don't know she was going to run away from the wedding. So I'm just interested.
I had this same question yesterday and was talking to my wife about it. And the only thing we could come up with was they knew she was going on her honeymoon somewhere.
I guess.
So they were going to get her there.
Because it's
that's
goofy
a pretty
movie.
broad.
Because they talked about it's
it's
going to be a short honeymoon right after.
Yeah, I guess that's the best version you can get.
I had that same question. That's the only thing. That's the only thing I could figure out.
They're just pulling up and just waiting for her to fly out. We're just going to squat here for a couple days. Oh, here she comes.
Yep. Here she comes.
It's a goofy movie. It's bad writing.
That's not bad writing. All right, you're crazy.
I want to know if the Planet of the Apes was so close, why didn't they just go steal their air? They don't have a shield.
They don't have a shield. Yeah, there's got to be other planets that have air that don't. Yeah, because they could breathe on that planet, no problem.
Yeah.
So, I like in the lightsaber scene when Lonestar hits the ground and jumps back up, his stunt double is standing there, and they don't even try like to have a shot of Bill Pullman. It's literally the guy's a foot taller than him. He's got a beard, and he's just standing there, and his wig's all sideways, and then he starts doing flips off the bunk bed and everything. But I'm like, I don't know if they did that on purpose or what, but it is the same stunt double when they capture the stunt doubles from earlier. I just didn't understand why. At the moment when they take the shot of him, he's just standing there. So why did the stunt double have to be in at that moment? Bill Pullman was
Bill Pullman
offset.
couldn't do that jump. So
Yeah, he was at Craft Services.
How
So
did that stunt double get in the room if he was captured?
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, they captured him. So
They let him go. They never actually.
They did.
They
Yeah.
just all went off.
They
just
got you.
ran off to
So,
go get the real people.
That's right.
Can you really put an old nose back? Like she had plastic surgery. They're just going to mangle her face. They're not going to put the nose back.
And it is
They're
the
just gonna
future.
cut it up.
It's 2001 at least, because the
I like
car
how
is
he
a
came at her with a
2001.
bone saw.
Yeah. I think they're just going to disfigure her. That's not a put her old nose back because it had a big bridge and everything in it. What's he going to reinsert I don't know what's going on. I just don't think you can put the old nose back.
Maybe they kept it.
So,
Who knows?
what's that?
Maybe they kept it. I
Maybe
don't
they
know.
kept what?
Kept
The
the
extra
nose?
bone? They kept the old nose? Like it just comes on and
So,
off?
like examine it or something?
Yeah. It's like Face Off. They just cut around it and it pulls right off. You put a new
Yeah,
one
if
on.
they could do it in Face Off.
You can do it Face Off. You
Face
can do it in
Off.
Spaceballs.
Yeah.
So,
I wanted to know, where did all the escape pods go?
yeah.
Yeah.
Where do they go? Like what planet are they going
They
to?
went down to the Planet of the Apes planet.
What? No.
That was right next to it.
Really?
Well, that's
But
where
when
the-
they
Well, we're not
fly?
sure how far that thing flew.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
That could have been.
But I could make that. That's because in the original Star Wars, when they escape, we assume they go to that ice planet because that's their rebel base.
Yeah.
But the Spaceballs didn't have a rebel base. Does it just go back to Planet Spaceball?
I guess.
I guess so.
So yeah, that is a good one. I don't know where the escape pods go.
But that's a good question even for the regular Star Wars movies, right?
Yeah.
Where do they go?
Well, I think they went to the rebel
We
base.
assume that.
We assume.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we don't want to think too far on that. So
I also want to know how Lone Star gets the ring back. Because when he's leaving the Mega Maid's head, he's wearing the ring again.
Oh yeah. Maybe
It's
he
a
got
little
it.
whoopsie they did.
Did he get it out of the grate? Maybe
Before he had to run
maybe
away?
he pulled the grate up and pulled it out. Right? We don't know how far down it
Or
went.
he used the Schwartz to pull it out.
Schwartz.
Oh.
Because he doesn't
He
need the
doesn't
ring.
need the
Doesn't
ring, but
need
why
the
would
ring.
he take time to get it then?
Because
Yeah.
it's
What's a nice
for
ring?
It's
posterity.
a nice
It's a nice
It
ring.
means something.
He
Yeah.
needs his pinky
Yeah,
ring.
it's from his time with yogurt. So he wants to keep it. Otherwise, he's going to miss yogurt, right?
That's
so,
right.
Dark Helmet's costume. So in the original, it's great, but in the original, Darth Vader's wearing that mask because he has to wear the mask to breathe and live. Dark Helmet doesn't. He can just take it on and off whenever he wants. So why is he wearing the big helmet?
Well, and I like
Just
how
makes it more intimidating.
Oh, okay.
I like how Rick Moranis, the brilliance of his part,
Yeah.
Does
is
the two
how he
voices?
changes his voice
Yeah.
when it closes
I know.
and when it opens.
Yeah.
I just think that's
great.
That is funny
Yeah.
when I watch it and
Is when he opens.
when he changes to that like South African,
Well, and what I really like is, when he goes...
he becomes James Earl Jones when it's closed.
What I really like is when they go to the sand planet, his dark helmet costume becomes a sand costume. So
sand hat.
does he have a helmet for like every terrain? Like if they go to a water planet, it's a scuba helmet, and
And I like that he just has the little door and the,
Yep.
and
The little eye holes.
So all right, well,
I like that in
there's
that
no
part where he says, "Prepare to leave,"
Prepare.
and he goes, "Why do you always have to prepare? Just go already." And then he goes, "So you're gonna want to sit down," and then, bam,
just go. Yeah, it's good. So, well, I think plot holes aside, there aren't really any. There's a couple. We had a couple, but
There's
for
a
the most
couple.
part, you can fish most of them out, right? So, well, the biggest plot hole is this then. Okay. They vacuum out all the air. So trees come out of the ground, snow comes off the mountains, everything
Mountains
happens.
come out of the ground. Yeah.
Then when they push it back in, those
They
same
all go to
trees
the
go into the
exact same
exact
spot.
same holes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The snow falls right back on that mountain.
Yes.
Everything just,
Because
Okay.
putting things in reverse was cheaper.
I gotcha. So I will tell you one interesting thing. The castle we're in Druidia.
Yeah.
It's actually based on a real castle in Germany.
Oh.
It's down in southern Germany, right on the border of Austria in
Have
the
you
Alps.
seen it? Have you been there?
We've been there. Our family went there when we visited Germany. It's the Mad King Ludwig's castle.
Ludwig's.
But
Did
it's
you
the
know
basis
it was
for
that when you were
castle.
there? Or did you
I
guys
didn't
figure it out later?
We went to it, and then when you see a picture of it from a wide shot, you go, "Man, it looks just like the castle in Spaceballs."
And you're like,
and
'cause it
then
is.
a little Google machine magic. Guess what? It's based
the
on that
same.
castle. So we've been to Druidia, basically, is what
There
that
you
comes
go.
down to.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. Well, we looked at some reviews earlier. You talked about Ebert, kind of said it was a little fun or whatever. Siskel said it was hit and miss film, so maybe he feels more like you, Rob. But it had just enough good jokes that he'd recommend the movie slightly.
Yeah.
So
No.
that's not a full endorsement, but there you go. He thought the funniest part of the whole film was Pizza the Hut. Now, I don't.
I did.
don't
I read that. and
agree.
I disagreed with that.
I don't agree with that at all.
No, there's
So
way funnier parts.
Roger, not so nice, gave it 2.5 stars.
Not so nice.
And said he laughed out loud several times, but the movie as a whole is not successful and is too late to spoof Star Wars, as it's been 10 years since Star Wars came out, and everyone has forgotten about Star Wars.
That's right.
Raj said he couldn't recommend it, and he gave it a thumbs down. So Raj can go fish in a boat
Nobody
somewhere.
remembers Star Wars to this day.
Yeah, 10 years later,
go fish
no
in a
one
boat?
remembers.
Did
Yeah,
you
go fish in a boat
that
somewhere.
a saying?
That's the nicest thing I can come up with.
Go fish in a boat.
You want me to give him the Genie Bueller? You take your thumb and shove it over. You take your thumb.
You know what? You can just go fish in a boat.
All right, Rob. Well, although Siskel and Ebert weren't real flattering about it, your job, and begrudgingly it
I
seems
know.
like this week, was to find a good review
Yeah.
for Spaceballs. Were you able to do
I
that?
did. I found a Google review.
Oh, nice.
By an independent review by a gentleman named Roger, not Roger and Ebert.
Oh, okay. Just a separate
Just Roger.
There
It's
are
Roger K.
Are you telling me there
We'll
are
call him
more
Raj.
Rogers
Yes, there's
than
many.
Roger Eberts that watch movies?
Yeah. And it's not my Uncle Roger.
This is
It's
ridiculous.
not my Uncle Roger.
I got you.
It's Roger K.
Okay.
It says, this is the only movie I've ever seen 2 times in the movie theater in my 50 years. I understand that some people may not love this type of humor or didn't understand some of the references, but reading the comments by the people who hate it makes them seem dim-witted and humorless.
Ooh.
I smile at some of my kids' shows and movies because something is witty and well written. Who can't bring themselves to laugh or smile at humor? I feel sad for these people. Their lives must be empty and pathetic. Rogers seems upset. Open yourselves up to humor, no matter where it comes from, and maybe you won't have a heart attack early from life's stresses.
There you go.
Roger has it all figured out.
Your Uncle Roger there is calling you out, Rob. He's telling you to
He's
laugh
basically,
and stop being so
chill out.
serious.
That's
Yeah.
exactly what Roger is saying. He
Calm
said,
down.
Don't take the movie for what it is. Chill out.
Well, we should have flip-flopped this week because you love Spaceballs. Rob apparently hates Spaceballs.
I don't hate it.
We made him find the good
I
review.
just don't think it's as revered as everybody
You
thinks
had
it
the unenviable task of having to look up a bad review. So were you able to locate one?
I was, since
Okay.
the critics didn't like it so
is.
much.
So you can't, it shouldn't have been hard.
Yeah, it's. I found a lot of them. A lot of the bad reviews all talked about how it was 10 years too late to do this movie.
Roger
that
Ebert.
that was mainly their premise.
Yeah.
And this one that I found actually does that too.
What?
But it says Mel Brook's Space. Oh, sorry. This one is from Michael Dare from the Los Angeles Weekly. This was July 2nd, 1987.
All right, Michael, let's
So
go.
he says Mel Brooks' Spaceballs suffers from an overdose of bucks and an underdose of yucks. I counted 5 big ones, which average out to $5 million per chortle.
Well, he thought that Bucks Yucks was gold.
pretty good.
I
And then
wrote
he threw
that.
in a chortle too.
Oh my goodness.
And then he says, though I hate to review a film based upon its budget, I can't help but feel that there's something very wrong with satirizing. That's a hard word.
Yeah, that
for
is
me.
tough.
One $25 million movie with another $25 million
I believe
movie.
what you're going for is satirizing.
Satirizing.
There you
Thank
go. No problem.
You're older, so you've
fine.
got,
Yeah, I
you've
got
got bigger
it.
vocabulary. And then he goes on to say, forgetting for the moment that this is already 10 years too late for a Star Wars satire, what's disheartening about Spaceballs is how much of it falls totally flat. And here's where he gets mean to people.
Oh my goodness.
Joan Rivers, who has never been funny, is totally embarrassing as the voice of the robot, though she's never looked better.
Wow.
Yeah. And ditto for Michael Winslow, whose unremarkable ability to mimic sound effects is just as impressive in a movie as a ventriloquist is on the
Does
radio.
this guy think he could do those sounds? Because I'd like to hear him do
Yes.
those sounds.
Yeah, so he's not a fan
That
of
dude's
it.
The bleeps, the creeps, and
sucks,
the
man.
what?
That reviewer
The bleeps,
sucks.
the sweeps, and the
A
creeps.
lot.
That's the sweeps.
What?
Yeah,
What?
the sweeps.
He's typing that up on his typewriter, by the way, in 1987. He's like, well, this is going to be good.
Yeah, he's
People are gonna love me.
Ooh.
sorry, Michael. I booed
Yeah.
you.
He thinks he's Skip Bayless or Stephen A. Smith or
That's right.
something.
What was his thing? The bucks and yucks.
Let's see
and
what it
yucks.
was. It suffers from an overdose of bucks and an underdose of yucks.
Here-
Wow.
And you ready? that dude suffers from an overdose of sucks. All right, a lot. That's his problem. He clown. Even back in 1987, he's probably like 80 now, but you're still a clown. All right, so. Well, I don't want to read any more reviews from that guy. He's off the list. You find other people from now on.
Variety at the time said the film was a misguided parody and not very funny.
Your job was good reviews. You don't get to throw in bad reviews, right?
There's a lot of them.
Whatever.
I was just sitting there getting angry as I was trying to pick which one to do.
I'm getting angry at him. You're actively subverting this podcast.
I don't hate it.
Yeah, whatever.
I don't hate it.
So
just don't.
All right. Well, let's calm your hate for a few minutes. Right. Let's just jump into the categories. We have our first category. It's going to be our favorite quote.
They're here.
You can't handle the truth.
No. I am your father.
There's no crying. There's no crying in baseball.
When this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're going to see some serious shit.
Well, just like those timeless quotes, what we're looking for in this category is something that immediately makes you think of the movie. So, Ethan, we're going to start with you today. And why don't you tell us what your favorite quote of the movie was?
So, my favorite quote took place at, just the 1 hour and 4-minute mark of the movie when President Skroob is running across the entire ship when they approach the planet Druidia. And he says, "The ship is too big. If I walk, the movie will be over."
That's your favorite quote?
Yes.
All right. He likes the running, and it's too big.
So if he walks, then we never see him in the movie.
How did he get to the ship? He was in the place. He was
Spaceball
at
City.
Spaceball City, and then he's just on the ship. Did
they figured out the beaming thing?
Beam
Well,
him?
apparently Spaceball City is obviously pretty close to Druidia.
In what
Because they're getting
terms?
the air
I guess.
sent to him. So maybe, maybe
the
figured out
space geography in this movie is
A
a
little
little off.
Okay.
I would like to see some charts.
Yes.
I want
Some
a
space
map.
charts.
I want a map.
Maybe we can get Neil deGrasse Tyson on here, and he
That's
can
right.
give us.
He can explain it.
Well, they went through a wormhole, so it cuts down like 4 years of travel or
That's
something.
right.
I just wonder how he got to the ship.
Well,
So.
they were able to go plaid. So
But that's a good quote. So, Kurt, what's your favorite quote?
All right, mine. I think part of mine that makes it funny is the accent that goes with it. So I'm going to do my best.
I love it.
It's when they get to the planet of the apes.
Nice.
And it's what are those things coming out of her nose? Spaceballs. Oh shit! There goes the planet.
You're so proper sounding. Yeah, that's good.
But yeah, part of it's the accent that does it for me.
That's funny.
Go Spaceballs.
Oh
There goes
shit!
the planet.
All right, Rob, what do you got?
Oh man,
He can't find one because he hates them.
no,
Because he hates the movie.
No,
There's nothing funny.
Actually, there's really funny. They were funny. I think it's probably too long to read, but
You'll read it anyway.
okay. So it's the interaction between Colonel Sanders and Dark Helmet when they're talking about the movie.
Okay.
And they're going back and
We're
forth.
at now.
And Colonel Sanders says, "Try here, stop." Dark Helmet says, "What the hell am I looking for? When does this happen in the movie?" Colonel Sanders says, "Now. You're looking at now, sir. Everything that happens now is happening now." Dark Helmet says, "What happened to them?" Colonel Sanders says, "We passed them." Dark Helmet says, "When? Just now. We're at now. Go back to then. When? Now. Now. I can't. Why? We missed it. When? Just now. When will it be now? Soon. How soon?
soon?
And it just keeps.
Yeah.
I just,
It kind of reminds me of the Who's on
Yeah,
First
that's what I was gonna
gag. So it goes on forever. What I like in that, though, is when they show the part of the movie where he crashes.
Yeah.
When they stop ludicrous speed, he goes, "Nope, fast forward past this part. In fact, never show this part again."
Never again.
yeah.
That's pretty good. So, well, for me, picking a quote out of this, I thought was literally insane. This is the hardest.
Just shooting a
Yeah, this is one of the hardest ones I've had to pick a quote out of. So, this is the one I went with because I laugh somewhat the most every time I hear it. He says he's the minister when they're getting married the second time. And he says,
Nothing to do with love.
He says, "Excuse me, I'm trying to conduct a wedding here, which has nothing to do with love." And he goes, they say, "We're sorry." "Don't be sorry, be quiet."
Sorry, be quiet.
And so that one's good. The only other one that I really laugh a lot at is, so the combination is 1, 2, 3, 4,
Yes.
5. That's the stupidest combination I've ever heard of in my life. That's the kind of thing an idiot would have on his luggage. And then Mel Brooks goes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's amazing. It's the same thing I have on my luggage.
Remind me to change that.
So yeah,
my luggage.
change my luggage. So those are great. You could go on forever with all these. I mean,
The other one it was when they're he's got his desert helmet,
Oh, yeah.
fatigues on, and he says, "Are we being too literal?"
Yeah, we're being too
And Dark
literal.
Helmet says, "No, you
sorry.
fool. We're
It's
following
to comb the
orders. We were
desert."
told to comb the desert, so we're combing it."
Well, I'll tell you.
and here they are combing
yeah.
with big giant combs.
Well,
I
and then, of
that's-
course,
that's funny.
the two African Americans have the pick.
We ain't
And so-
found
We
shit.
found bones.
Yeah, so that is my wife's favorite. That's what she laughs at the most every time we watch the movies. We ain't found shit. All right, so that's a good one.
I was
So,
going to say the quote I probably recite the most is, "Yes, remember, open it before you eat it."
oh yes,
With the fortune cookie.
correct.
So I'll hand anything to my wife. Remember, open it before you eat it.
Well, and we quote at our house, and just last night we quote all the time where like someone will say something, you'll be like, "We can't stop. We have to slow down first. It's too dangerous."
Yeah.
So we'll do that all the time when someone will be like, "Hey, we need to stop," or "We need to do. Hey, stop doing that. We can't stop." So we do that. Did you have any other backups?
I did not.
Oh, you just went with the one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. He was sold on that quote. Like that's the quote you're
But
gonna
I think that right there is, if there's any part of this movie that I really like, is it's not to me overtly funny. There are some overtly funny stuff, but I think some of the humor is really subtle. And,
well, it is.
Because
when he says,
and you could miss it if you're not.
Yeah.
You know, it's even something as simple as like chew your gum.
yeah.
If you're
The
not
Doublemint
from
twins,
if you're
yeah.
not from that.
If you don't know about the
generation,
Doublemint twins,
that's not funny.
Yeah.
Or what
But
about
if-
when Rick Moranis goes, "What's the matter, Colonel Sanders? Chicken,
Right?
Yeah, that's,
See, that's super
like
funny.
yeah,
Yeah.
You know that has to be funny.
Yeah, or
and
the going plaid, or
Going
the
plaid.
or the even how they make fun of the VHS and they're
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, and they go and it's all on the
It's in his timeline.
They've got them all on the shelves, you know, and so there's a humor where they're making fun of the industry.
oh yeah,
You know, so it's not overtly funny, but it's pretty funny.
there's
very
still
clever.
There's still some overtly funny stuff because another quote is the how many assholes we got on this shit?
Yes, that's
Yo.
classic. Yeah. I'm surrounded by assholes. Yeah.
So I knew it.
I'm surrounded by assholes.
That's how Rob feels in here
That's
today, right?
Yes.
Because we all love the movie so
That's right.
much. So,
But see, and I'm a huge fan of Conan O'Brien.
oh yeah,
And I know he's a big fan of Mel Brooks and that style of humor, and that's why if I
gotcha.
find this movie funny, it's because of that type of humor. So, anyway.
Well, and last quote I'll go with because we could do this all day, but I really do also like when he goes, "No, sir, I didn't see you playing with your dolls again."
well, even that whole dialogue that he does
Oh, yeah.
playing with
He
his
does
dolls.
play with his
is
dolls.
Oh, your
Oh,
helmet
you're
is
so big. He says, because what do you say? Jewish princesses are often attracted to men with money and power,
Yes.
and I have both.
Well, and you talk about quoting and stuff about back on the playground. And one of the things I remember quoting is when, and I'm going to get it wrong, where he goes, "We finally meet again for the
First time.
for the last time," or something like that.
Well, we
And then
used to
it's,
do
"You're
that.
my brother's,
Yep,
uncle's,
that's what we
sisters,"
did.
You know, we
My
used to say that
uncle's
all the time.
brother's
Yeah.
roommate.
Yeah,
What does that
makes
make
us
us?
Nephews, cousins,
Nothing.
former roommates.
So, all right. Well, that takes us to category 2. Our favorite scene in the movie. Again, Ethan, we'll start with you. What do you got?
My favorite scene is when Spaceball 1 loses the Winnebago on their hyperjets and they're forced to go after them. Colonel Sanders wants to enter light speed, but Dark Helmet orders them to go straight to ludicrous speed. Spaceball 1 proceeds to enter ludicrous speed, and the ship enters full force, and everyone in the ship is holding off for dear life. They end up passing Winnebago, and Dark Helmet orders Sanders to stop ship. Sanders says it's too dangerous, and they need to stop and slow down first. Dark Helmet does not care until Sanders has stopped Spaceball 1. The ship stops, sending Dark Helmet crashing into a panel in front of the main deck. This scene makes me laugh every time I watch this movie, and I will never forget it.
Oh, yeah. So, you wrote down like the whole scene.
Yes.
Like that came from the script. All right. We got scene 43 here. Let's go.
I'm
Boom.
going to piggyback on him because it's the same scene.
Oh, nice.
I put the ludicrous speed scene.
Yeah.
But the part that, and I even rewound it and made my wife watch it. She didn't find it as funny, is that the scene that you talked about where he goes, and I'm going to play it.
We passed them! Stop this thing! We can't stop. It's too dangerous. We have to slow down first. Bullshit!
Just the way he says that. He goes, we can't slow down.
Well, he can't move his mouth.
Yeah.
He says, my brains are going into my feet.
I just thought that part was.
You know,
just
for
the way he
someone
says it
for
is-
someone who hates the movie, he laughs a lot.
I don't
over
hate
there.
it. I will say that again. I don't hate it.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's as great as what everybody makes it.
All right.
And it could grow on me.
Oh, I know.
You ask me by the end of this podcast.
Yeah, maybe
He's a
I'll
grower,
be
not a
there.
shower.
He is a grower.
I will tell you. So this is about the ludicrous speed.
Yes.
But it's also an interesting fact.
Oh, okay.
Tesla.
Please.
Please do education.
Please help us.
Carry on. Yes. No,
Yes, that's
Tesla
great.
Motors
Wonderful.
has used Spaceballs' starship speeds.
Yes.
Yeah.
Light speed, ridiculous speed, and ludicrous speed, and plaid speed as inspiration for naming their acceleration modes. In homage to this movie, Tesla has ludicrous mode for acceleration beyond its insane mode, and plaid mode and overtop ludicrous. Yeah, so it's got
Brilliant.
Mel Brook should sue.
right.
Sue. Yeah, you owe me money. So, all right, Kurt, what's your favorite scene?
My favorite scene, I went with the space diner scene close to the end.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of quick hits of funny
Yeah.
things. We got the tail between
yeah.
the legs. We got the John Hurt alien callback. Oh
Oh,
no,
yeah.
not again. And then I always just remember the hello my honey, hello my
Hello, my
ragtime guy.
bear.
The little guy, the little alien going down the bar.
Yeah.
What did he have? The special.
special. That's
what
Gonna
I
change
ordered.
mine to the soup. Good idea.
Good idea. No, I like my kids. That's the part when they were little. After we showed it at your house, we'd rewind 4 or 5 times in a row the little alien. Hello, my kid. They liked when he does the thing and his hat goes on. He goes bing.
I love the trucker dude with the hat on. He goes, water my ass. Bring this guy some Pepto Bismol.
So, I actually have some opinions on the trucker guy, but we'll talk about that later. So that's a good one. That's great. That was right next to mine. Ludicrous was a backup for mine.
Yeah.
But my favorite scene, and Ethan probably knows my favorite scene. My favorite scene is when they jam the radar. Because I think one of the funniest parts of the movie is when Michael Winslow goes, I'm having trouble with the radar, sir. And they got over there, and then he puts up his mouth and goes, I'm having trouble with the radar, sir. And they throw it and rip it out, and then he does it again, and then they're like, nah. And then he goes, I'm having trouble with the radar, sir. And then he does that. But just when he does it again when they get over there, and Dark Helmet gets so mad, he rips that thing out of the...
What is it? That's not the only thing he's lost.
That's the only thing he's lost. But yeah, when he does that voice a couple times, I'm having trouble with the radar, sir. Sir.
So something about
I
that
will
radar
always laugh.
scene I did not mention earlier is that when they jammed the radar, it was labeled as strawberry, but then Dark Helmet tasted
It was raspberry.
It was raspberry. Yeah.
Raspberry.
So,
They mislabeled their jars of
yeah.
jams.
I mean, it's hard.
And where did they keep that jam on the Winnebago? That I forgot. That was one of my
I think
questions.
there's a
earlier.
launch. There's a launch thing.
But where did they hold it?
And it was a very large.
It
It's
was
in
a
jar.
large.
I think it's in the gray tank. All right, that's where it is.
in the great tank.
Rob knows what I'm talking about.
It'd be in the black-
It's in the
black
gray. Oh, black.
tank. Yeah,
No, you
that'd
don't
be
want,
black.
Well, you don't want to mix it in with the black tank. That's the bad
Oh no,
stuff.
you don't want to
Yeah.
mix your black and your
No,
gray.
yeah, there you go. So, all right. Well, that takes us to category 3. Your favorite bad guy. We might all be close to the same page on this, but there's a couple options. So, we'll start with you this time, Kurt. Who's your favorite bad guy?
I went with the helmet.
Helmet. Yep, I'm Helmet. Team.
Oh,
nope,
I went Helmet.
What do you got? So we got a try.
We got a menage on Helmet.
A menage on Helmet. So who's your favorite bad
I
guy?
went with Colonel Sanders.
Oh, Colonel Sanders. Nice.
He was a close second for
Colonel
me.
Sanders is
just
pretty
because
good.
he held everything together.
Well, yeah, he's actually the smart one.
Yeah.
Like, and
He wants to
if
make sure
Dark
that everything
Helmet,
goes the way it's supposed to go.
Yeah.
And then they all get destroyed.
Oh, yeah.
Or ran over.
if you
by someone
listened
else.
more to Colonel Sanders, like Colonel Sanders knows Dark Helmet's a moron.
Yeah.
But for some reason he has to listen to him
Because
all
he's
the
got the
time.
Schwartz and he's scared
yeah,
for his balls.
That's it. That's all it is. So
Yeah, he always is able to explain everything.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he knows what's going on, and that's like that scene when he's got his desert fatigues on.
Are you
And-
think we're being too literal, sir?
yeah, he knows. Like he knows
part
the
where
whole
he tells him
time.
to sit down.
Yeah.
you know, and then he gets shot back into his seat. He's
like,
like,
"Huh."
"You're gonna want to sit down."
Oh
Fine.
yeah, but he's way smarter than the rest of them, so he knows what's going on. But so we have
Now.
like you said, we have a menage of the Dark Helmet. It seems pretty easy. I am on record that I think Moranis is a genius in this movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like he's hitting home runs every time he talks. Like it's perfect. Because when he does the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Yeah.
when he says she gives great helmet, when he is playing with his dolls,
My
just everything he
favorite
does.
was after the helmet crash.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And he does
That's
the
exact-
how you been?
Yeah.
Fine, sir.
Okay.
Fine.
Good.
Smoking
It's been a
if you
good
got
thing you were wearing the helmet. Yeah.
He goes, What do you want to do now? Well, are we stopped?
Good. Well,
Let's take
why
a
don't we
break.
take a 5-minute break?
Very good,
sir. Smoke him if you got him, and then he does the fall.
Falls. So that's good. Yeah, I think Moranis is hitting a. Yeah, he's just hitting a home run every time every scene he's in. Like everything's perfect. Like when he takes the. I can't believe you fell for the oldest trick in the book.
Fooled you.
What's with you, man?
What's with you, man?
Here, have the ring back. Oh no.
And let's try it again.
Yeah. Good. So okay, so he's good. So yeah, those sum up the bad guys. Category 4, most unbelievable moment or scene. So Rob, what do you got? You start out with this.
Oh my gosh!
Come on, Rob. Everything was believable.
Yeah, everything's believable.
One
Everything
thing.
works.
I don't know. The part for me, the movie that really kind of took a turn is when the stupid Spaceballs one turns into Mega Maid.
Oh, that's
The
good.
Transformer. What?
I understand.
They gotta get the air
I
out.
understand, but that part is like, really?
All right.
Come on.
It's funny. Mega Maid.
It's funny.
Suck.
She goes from suck to blow.
She goes from suck to blow. She's a good maid.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Well,
Anyway.
Arnold loves her.
Usually got to pay extra. I love Mega Maid.
Mega Maid. And we have
He
child.
was watching this at home. Oh, get in here.
Have you seen that kid?
Go from suck to blow.
He looks just like him.
Yeah, there is no question.
No.
There's no way he goes,
Yeah.
no, we never did it.
I know.
How
Like
did
that-
that last for like 14 years
Oh my
before
gosh,
he was
before-
found out?
Yeah, what are you talking about?
He looks nothing like me.
Like when they looked in the baby crib, they had him,
Oh,
holy
yeah.
cow. That looks
right.
just like him.
So Rob's not buying the suck to blow. What do you got, Ethan?
Vacuum suck.
I would say mine is when the Spaceballs are on the moon of Vega searching for Lonestar and his crew, they eventually find Yogurt's hidden door.
Yeah.
The part that's most unbelievable about that is eventually when they're looking around, Sanders tells Lord Hammond, it's no use, sir. We've searched everywhere. There's no way they would have searched the entire planet in that short
Yeah,
amount
I
of
know.
time.
It's a moon. Huge
It's
planet.
huge.
Still,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a moon.
Well,
it's a
and-
small moon.
It's just Arizona.
The one spot they're standing next to, he's
know.
like, wait,
I
and,
feel it.
and why is there a Y on the door? Like, Yogi's
It's a
just
Y.
giving himself away at that point. So, yeah, so that's a good one. That does seem a little crazy. What do you got, Kurt?
All right, mine has to do with the dinks.
Oh,
when
dink
they
dinks.
find them in the desert,
Yes.
I can understand them having water,
Yeah.
but
I feel like I'm at Disneyland. Yeah.
so I can understand them having water for everybody. But why the hell do they have droid oil?
Just in case. You never know.
I'm just randomly walking around
Well,
with droid oil.
Well, like the
To be
Dinks and
fair,
they were like scavengers.
On
So
Star
they-
Wars,
Yeah, they have all kinds of stuff.
Remember those folks were out swapping droids and stuff. So
there was no other droids.
I know. I'm just trying
When they
to
went
help.
to Yogurts, there's no
All
droids
right.
with the dinks.
Yeah.
The Dink Dinks, they're like Boy Scouts.
I had
They're
to
always
go with
prepared.
something.
I gotcha.
I picked
Well,
one
I
that
gotcha.
seemed random.
obnoxious.
Is
I
what
gotcha.
I went with on that
Well,
one.
I went with what Rob mentioned earlier, and that's the extraction of Princess Vespa.
Yeah.
Because again, why can they just breathe out in space no problem? Like, barf and the other.
Not in here, it's a Mercedes.
Yeah, exactly. So I didn't understand. And
A 2001.
how did they get up the ladder before him and him get all that luggage on him? The top of that thing was really small. What do you go stand on the back or? And he has no harness attached to him. Eagle 5. He's just out in space.
Yeah.
Gravity's fine. Everything's fine. So
Dot Matrix.
Yes.
She's concerned about people looking up her
upper
skirt.
can.
Upper can.
Does she have
No, it's
No.
just
anything
metal
to look at?
I don't
know.
I mean, I don't know.
By the way, how's that Virgin alarm work?
Yeah.
I don't
Like
know.
Carefully.
Yeah.
they're just about to kiss and it goes off.
Goes off before you
Before
do.
he does, yes.
Yeah, I just don't understand. Do you think it's sensed by like blood consuming in the crotchal region?
like
He's starting to swell.
An engorgement.
Yeah, as soon as it
I'm sure it's not anything with him. It's more
okay.
her
So
chastity
maybe
belt
it's
has
yeah.
sensors.
Maybe it's like the pheromones start getting too high.
Body heat.
Yeah, that's what it is.
And in some scenes with Dot Matrix, if her foot's lifted, you can see shoes under there.
Oh yeah, she's got.
I was gonna say, yeah.
several times.
Sometimes she's roller
I
skating.
know.
Sometimes she's shoes.
Yeah. It's not the best costume.
No.
So, but it's okay. She seems very unfunctional. I also do like when they get mad because that huge trunk has the hair dryer, the big hair dryer.
Yeah.
And then they keep carrying
They
it.
throw the hair dryer out, but keep carrying the empty trunk. I'm like, why don't you just leave the trunk there?
Which is
Because even
funny.
John Candy goes, Mog goes, us, 100%
So much
better.
lighter,
I
yeah.
could carry 5 of these.
Which when you go back to Dot Matrix and how she's what was the word used? The costume wasn't very good.
Yeah,
it wasn't very utilitarian.
It was not.
But that was always my argument in the real Star Wars movie.
C-3PO?
C-3PO's ability to go through, it's an awful design for a
he's
robot.
fine.
You
Well,
can't do anything.
He's a protocol droid. It wasn't supposed to be out in the
No,
desert and
that's what I mean.
Tatooine and all
So-
this crap. So, all right.
Get really mad about it.
Yeah, you really
All this crap.
You're really digging into
I
it.
should just go fishing.
First of all, you leave C-3PO alone. Yeah, you go fish in a boat somewhere. Take your thumb. All right, category 5.
Shit.
Category 5, best location in the movie. What do you got, Kurt?
Alrighty, I went with Spaceball 1.
That's what I said.
That's what I said too.
All three of
wow.
a menage of Spaceball 1. I am not the menage on that one.
I went with it's got everything. It's got a mall, a three-ring circus,
Yeah.
and
It
a
does.
zoo, and it's a transformer.
That's
And
what
an
I said, too.
orchestra, apparently.
Yeah.
There's an orchestra
And
in
it's
there.
huge.
Huge.
Yeah.
Because if we walk, we won't make it.
That's right.
That's
and
right.
some of the best scenes in the movie happen
Take
on
place
Spaceball.
on Spaceball 1. Anything else?
Well, yeah, despite Spaceball 1 being the villain ship, it has the most options and it's a great location to visit, even to live on it for a certain amount of time.
Oh, okay.
Great place to visit.
It's got everything. Great place to visit.
I love
Hey,
that.
Yeah, you're on. If you're on
place
plan,
to
what if you're on Planet Spaceball? Hey, hon, we got vacation coming up. You want to go to Spaceball 1?
Seems to have better
Just go
air
hang
than the
out.
actual planet.
It's got everything.
It's got everything. Yeah. So, well, I will diverge from you three. I went with the castle in Druidia. I like the castle. Based on
the castle.
I told you earlier, based on the castle in Germany, it's called the Neuschwanstein Castle.
Wow.
Neuschwanstein.
All right. So anyway, been there. We like it. So it gives me good memories. So that's my favorite location in the movie. Plus, I like that minister who's doing the. She comes down the aisle, out the door. Like, that guy's great.
Stop her.
So,
Stop
yeah,
her.
it's good. So, that guy really wants to get everybody married. I don't know what's going on with him. So,
He just has a job to do.
Well, that takes us to category 6, our worst actor or actress.
Money now and a lot more when I get in that office. You can take that to the bank.
I'm gonna take you to the bank, Senator Trent. To the blood bank.
I found the Bat Cave.
We gotta get those locks changed.
She knows who we are.
She'll just have to kill her.
Yep, we'll kill her later. We have work to do.
They're eating her. And then they're going to eat me. Oh my God!
All you wanted to do was embarrass me. Well, you did it, okay? Grandfather always said you were a loser. Now you're trying to make me one, and I hate you for it.
All right. Well, those are all obvious. I have to be honest. It was very hard for me. I'm going to go first this time. I couldn't find much where I was like, this person's doing a bad job, because even when they're supposed to be spoofing, they're not meant to be being. Some of these parts aren't meant to be great. So the guy I went with, the closest I could find, is your boy the trucker at the truck diner. I just think he's overdoing it a little bit. When he says the part you said you liked, which was get this guy some Pepto-Bismol, I just feel like it's a little like he really was like all in on that move. Like a little bit of overacting. Like this is his moment. He's probably never been in another movie, and he's like, I'm going. I'm here with John Hurt. I got things coming out of stomachs. This is happening. But,
I got thing coming out of stomachs.
it's the best I could do. He was just a little more over the top than I'd say anybody else I was watching in the movie. So,
I struggled to find anybody.
Yeah.
That
in a movie that you hate.
That I
But you couldn't find anybody acting bad.
Well, that I couldn't pick one.
Yeah.
I didn't
felt,
either.
I felt they were.
I said
all-
I liked everybody, even Jim J. Bullock.
Yeah, Jim J. The only other one I had was kind of Joan Rivers, because some of her stuff is her shtick, like where she's like, "Can we talk?" Because that's like her thing. She does like so. Some of her dialogue wasn't super original, I guess, but I guess that's what she's supposed to be.
The princess was a little annoying to me, so I almost picked her. But then I think it goes back to what you said.
Yeah,
I think they're intentionally supposed to be.
Yeah, like
not great.
Yeah, because she's supposed to be spoofing Princess Leia, which if you go watch that, she's a little annoying.
Yeah,
at times.
and Han Solo's over the top.
Yeah,
he's
too much.
He's machismo over the top machismo.
Ooh.
And I think that's
machismo twice.
Yeah,
nice.
Muchas machismo.
Muchas machismo.
Dos machismo.
So,
Look
all
at
right.
that.
Well, Ethan, we've been talking. Do you have anybody bad?
Our Spanish listeners,
Spanish, yes,
are
thankful.
I'm sorry, Spanish listeners.
So, but yes, Ethan, do you
I
have?
went between two, and I decided to choose Jim J. I had to.
Oh, you don't like
Prince Valium?
No, Prince Valium.
No,
it's not working.
He does nothing good for this movie. He's always sleepy and yawning when someone's around him or talking to him. Like, does he even care about marrying Princess Vespa, or does he just want to do it so he doesn't feel like he's alone?
I guess. I think he's just being told to do it, right?
Yeah.
So that's
basically the same as her.
Yeah. So yeah, I would say the The worst thing in the movie was that tuxedo Lonestar ends up wearing at the end. That's the worst looking.
By the way, where did he stop to get that?
Where did you get it? Yeah.
I mean, they might have stores on Rudy MP.
It's open way too much. It's cut way too low.
It's a good TV.
There's some taco meat hanging out with the chain and those shoulder pads.
Yeah.
I don't know
The
what's
high
happening
collar.
there. Yeah. And then Barf got his hair done on the way because he's got
Bartholomew.
like a ponytail now, or I'm not sure what's going on. So that's fine. But that outfit was rough. So, well, that'll take us to category 7. Our favorite merchandise you could purchase from one Mr. Yogurt.
Spaceballs the T-shirt. Spaceballs the coloring book.
He's giving us all the answers.
That's right.
Spaceballs
All our
the
options.
breakfast cereal. Spaceballs the flamethrower.
Kids
love this one.
What about
There
the?
you
You
go.
didn't get Spaceballs, the doll or whatever.
Nope.
So, all right. Well, what do you got, Ethan? What's the merchandise? Your favorite merchandise?
I went with the flamethrower.
Oh, flamethrower. Who wouldn't? Kids do
describe
love it.
Kids
I
love
went
it.
with flamethrowers
Although
too.
the favorite
I did.
merchandise is one of the most dangerous products. It just seems like yogurt doesn't care for the safety of
I
children.
like how practical he is. It's dangerous, but I kind of like it.
But the kids love it, and so
Kids
do I.
love it.
So do I. Yes. So, all right, Rob. What do you? What's yours?
I went with the doll.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Schwartz be with
Because that was another one. I remember we would say it. We would
Rob
quote
likes the
that,
cutesy
you know.
stuff.
He likes
Yeah.
cutesy stuff. Yeah. All right.
He needs something to cuddle with.
He does. What do you-
If I read right, Mel Brooks's kid, I think.
Yeah.
He's got the original.
Oh, nice.
doll. He has it. in
Probably
his
not.
collection.
Probably
So-
not a kid anymore, but
No,
yeah,
yeah.
his son. Okay, or daughter.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you have?
Mine was flamethrower too.
Ooh, flamethrower
yeah.
twice. I went with lunchbox.
Yeah.
Because I like that it's just a Transformers lunchbox. They didn't even bother to do anything with it. It just is Transformers. It says Transformers on it, and it's got the Optimus Prime and all that stuff. So I liked that lunchbox when I was a kid, and I just loved that it's like no one will notice. Like,
It doesn't matter.
It's the same with the coloring book too.
That's
so.
the
yeah, coloring book is also Transformers.
Yes.
So yeah,
As well
other
as the
thing that-
cereal, I think, isn't
yeah.
it?
Yeah, I think the cereal is too. Yeah.
Well, and the cereal,
So
what I liked about
was
it says
trans-
100% sugar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Do you
what it
think
says on the cereal.
Do you
on the
think
bottom.
Transformer stuff was just laying around that set they were on, or like they
Probably.
just got their hands on it?
So I'm
or
telling you, I think
did Mel Brooks just go to Walmart and be like, "Hey,
no,
let's
there's
just grab
probably
these
somebody on
things."
set that goes, "Oh, my kid has that.
Oh yeah,
I'll just grab it. It's in the car right now.
It's in the car.
I took him home. He's in the car."
I just like that. I like the fact that they make no effort to even put a Spaceballs picture on it.
Yeah.
Just Transformers. It's fine.
So the movie also has some products that were not at Yogurt's place.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So there was Spaceballs the towel.
Oh yes,
Yep.
the
There was
sheets.
Spaceballs the plate.
Yes,
There was Spaceballs the shaving cream.
Yeah.
Very famous scene.
yes,
Spaceballs the toilet paper.
yeah.
Spaceballs the sheet.
I like the sheets because
Just
he had
and it's just the sheet.
yes.
Yeah.
Is it Marlene and
Darlene.
Darlene?
and
Yeah.
Sugar Gum.
Marlene
Yeah.
Darlene.
And then there was Spaceballs the placemat.
What's Skroob doing under the sheet? He has a book, and they're laughing, and then he pops up. I don't know. I'm not sure what's going on there.
Well, after the show's over, we can explain it.
This is
to
an
what
unlisted,
he's probably
it's an unlisted
doing.
wall.
Yeah.
He's
That's right.
reading. He's
That's right.
reading to them. Yeah.
And then
Okay.
I did mention. Well, I was going to mention earlier. You watched the Goldbergs.
I did.
Yeah. Apparently there's an. I did not watch it.
Okay.
There's an episode of the Goldbergs where Rick Moranis
Yeah.
brings back his character
He does.
Dark Helmet,
Mhm.
and in that there's Spaceballs the wallet.
Oh, nice.
That was featured in the Goldbergs.
I would say going back to Spaceballs, the sheet. If there's such an air problem on Spaceball
They're
City,
spending a lot of- they're using a lot of it.
Maybe he shouldn't be under the sheet. All right, that's going to waste a lot of air. All right,
Or participating in activities that
would waste
require
more
a lot of
oxygen.
air.
That's
Yeah.
correct. Maybe he's got a couple of those cans under there. So, all right,
those cans
that takes us to category 8, our last category, and sometimes our favorite. It is the Harry Temple, I should have stayed in Aspen moment of the movie.
Aspen it is.
So, as Harry has told us, this is a moment in the movie when a character knows or realizes their demise or something really bad may happen to them. So, Ethan, what is your I should have stayed in Aspen moment for Spaceballs?
It is in the diner. It is with John Hurt.
Yes.
So
Yes.
he apparently doesn't learn his lesson from aliens, and
and by the way, it was reborn.
Yeah.
Because he died in Aliens.
right.
So,
he probably would have learned his demise if he had not learned. He would have just
oh, yeah.
learned his lesson from aliens.
You'd think
Unless
so.
he was a cyborg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
He came
And he's like, "Oh no, not again."
Not again. Well, in this case, like father, like son, because mine is also John Hurt. Because that look when he says "not again," the look on his face is I should have stayed in Aspen.
Yeah.
So Ellen Ripley has steered me wrong again. So, all right. So, what do you got, Kurt?
Mine was after the self-destruct says, of course, have a nice day, and they all say thank you, and then they all squinch up the face, and
that's perfect.
And then it goes boom.
Twins, Basil.
Ooh,
Basil. Yeah, I put Colonel Sanders, Lord Helmet, and President Skroob hug at the inn.
Yes.
That's-
This is a great. I love it. He goes, "He's a great ship, boys. I think you should go down with it."
So I like how they say thank you.
Yes. Well,
Thank you.
well, she stops to go, "Have a nice day." Hey, what happened to 6? Just kidding. She's a very active recording.
That's right.
Yes.
So, all right. Well, that's our should have stayed in Aspen moment between John Hurt and the three,
Yes.
the three bad amigos.
That's right.
We'll call them that. So,
Okay.
I did a quick thing here. We talked about earlier that we love the cast. It's great. But what if we did recast it? What if we did it for today? Right? I don't often go to the day, but I did today. And Kurt's going to like this because my Lonestar is going to be Glenn Powell.
Ooh. Oh, he's
all right. He's the guy.
He's overdone.
No, he's not overdone.
He's in
So
everything.
he's in the new Twisters. He was in Maverick.
yeah.
That guy, right?
Yeah.
So he's Lonestar. He's 35. Pullman was 34, so it hits that sweet spot. I've got Barf, Josh Gad.
Which
Josh
I
Gad?
read he's in the works to do a
Spaceballs too. Yeah. So, but I thought he'd be a good Barf. For Vespa, I got Emma Watson. All right, so Hermione, she's 34.
Hermione.
Zuniga was 25, but she looks younger, so we can get away with that one. Dark Helmet, I went with Bill Hader. So, take Moranis out, Bill Hader in.
I'd still put Moranis in there.
Yeah, I don't know if he'd come back. He stays away now. So, and Colonel Sanders, I got Jason Sudeikis.
Ooh, that's a good
I
one.
think he would be good because playing a little more of a straight man. And then Dot Matrix, I had Kristen Wiig.
Yeah.
So we'll put her inside the costume. And President Skroob, I went with Tom Hanks. And he could also be yogurt.
Yeah.
So
He could
because we need a
also
little
be
bit of an
yogurt.
older guy and someone who's a little silly.
Yes.
So I think Hanks could pull it off. So if we were going to recast this for today
That's good.
and do
That's good.
another Spaceballs, that could be a good cast right
That
there.
is pretty good.
I had read that too, that Josh Gad is involved in some.
Yeah.
For years and years, I remember I had heard that there was going to be a sequel and it was going to be called Spaceballs
2, The Search
3,
for More.
The Search for
The
More
Search
Money.
for Part 2.
Oh,
Well, that's what Rick Moranis
That
when
was
he was trying
back
to do
in
it.
the day.
That
Yeah.
was his choice.
And
to
I've
do a
been
second.
telling people that for years.
Yeah.
And then I
Sure.
just read it in Wikipedia.
Real quick.
But then the one in the movie is for the Search for More Money.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Real quick, Rob.
yeah.
You've been telling people that for years.
I have.
Who are you telling these things to? What conversation are you having? Hey, have you heard? There's going to be a Spaceballs 3.
because he hates the movie so much. He's always talking about
Don't
it.
hate the movie.
Who are you telling
I don't
this
hate
to?
it.
We like
And
to go with it though.
Anybody
right.
that will listen.
Okay, so that's good.
That
All
is
right.
my life. I'll tell anybody that will listen.
He does
My
talk
wife-
to everybody.
Yes, that's correct.
My wife says that.
Well,
You've already told me that. I know,
so-
but you're here.
You're the only person I can talk
Nobody
to.
else will talk to me. So
All right, well, we've all
I've
weighed in.
actually started conversations by saying, I know, I've already said this
I know.
a lot.
So, well, we've all.
Have you heard that I've been to a Michael Jackson or
Janet
Janet
Jackson concert. We've all heard. Rob.
okay.
Now,
Yeah,
who
there
did you
go.
go to that Janet Jackson concert with, Rob? Can we finally figure out who you went with?
Can we
It
get
wa-
past
Kurt
an
was
episode?
there. It's the last
It
time
was-
I'm going to talk about it. I
It was
promise.
me.
It's
It
not.
was you.
You weren't
No.
the only guy. It was
Kurt
me.
went.
All right.
All right. Okay.
All right. Well, we've all weighed in on the movie. We've hit our categories. So I think we have one more reviewer that we have to
Yeah.
go to today.
O'Connor's Corner. He watches movies. It's Connor's Corner. Oh yeah.
So since this movie is apparently, or this show is apparently a family affair, my other son that's not here today, famous now on our podcast for Connor's Corner, weighed in on Spaceballs.
You're like
And
the
this is-
LeBron James of
yeah,
podcasts.
I get them
right.
on. Yeah,
Bring on Bronny.
Yeah. He's
No offense.
Ethan's a second
no
round
offense.
pick.
He's
yeah.
like no talent.
Your
It's
kids-
because
yeah.
the dad's here.
Yeah, I mean you can
Is that
bring-
what we're saying?
We got a bunch of Nepo babies.
I was
coming
about to
on
say
today.
you're free to get your kids in here too. You just choose not to. So.
no, because
they don't want
never
to.
Mind.
Yeah.
No,
All right.
it would
too.
not go well.
Okay.
Mine too.
No.
All right. Well, Connor wrote, Spaceballs is a movie that I could watch every day and never get bored of. It's a classic, and I'm always excited when I watch the film. It never fails to make me laugh, and I think it is my favorite spoof movie of all time. I died laughing when I first watched this as a kid, and I still die of laughter watching it as an adult. This movie will always hold a special place in my heart, and it is forever a classic to me. Perfect movie, 10 out of 10.
Ooh.
Extra. It's hard to choose a favorite character since they're all great, but if I had to pick someone, it's probably Dark Helmet. My favorite scene in the movie is without a doubt the jam scene with Colonel Sanders and Dark Helmet. So that is Connor's Corner.
That was really
10.
good.
10. He gave it a
10 out of 10.
And I mean, rest in peace for your son. I'm sorry.
What's it? Why?
He died.
Why does he die?
He died laughing.
Oh, he did die laughing.
Oh, okay.
Hey.
He still did him.
Hey.
Yes.
Dad jokes
Well
galore.
done. Yeah, well
Dad
done.
jokes for
And
everyone.
that's why Rob's kids won't come on.
I understand.
There's,
All right.
yeah, it's not them. It's
Well,
me.
I think let's talk about our final judgment. So watching this again, doing the podcast, how do you still feel about Spaceballs, Kurt?
I still love it. Like I told you yesterday when you came over.
Oh, yeah.
This was probably the first movie where I did most of my notes before I ever watched the movie.
Yeah. You
Before
know
I
it
did
that
the
well.
rewatch.
We had
So-
talked about that you felt like
You could just do it
you
without
felt like
watching.
this was a movie that we could have just
Yeah, there was some of like the behind the scenes stuff that I looked up, beat and stuff, but yeah, I didn't really need to watch the movie to fill out the categories. So.
All right, Rob. We questioningly go.
Did you
how do
grow?
you still feel about the
I
movie?
still just show.
Final judgment.
I don't hate it.
Out of 10, what are you giving this?
I give it an 8.
All right.
I give it an 8.
Solid
Not
8.
bad.
It's a B.
That's good.
We'll give.
No, I think it's. I think
a solid B over here.
Solid B. Got me through
Hey,
college.
B. What am I
give it a
gonna
B.
do?
What just happened?
I don't know why we do that.
I blacked out. What
Yeah,
happened?
you're good.
No,
got a B.
I
What happened?
I recognize it for what it is,
Yeah.
and I think there's some really smart humor in this movie.
Did your
that-
kids
yeah.
watch this with you?
No, every time they'd walk through, they go, "Hey, you're watching again?"
Oh.
I'm like, "Yeah, I'm watching it again."
I just don't think they appreciate it. You should
They
get
wouldn't.
them.
They
All
wouldn't.
right.
They
Okay.
wouldn't appreciate it. My son might.
Okay.
He's got
He
kind
likes
of that.
sort of
He's
stuff.
got kind of that humor. you
Like
know,
your
so-
humor.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. What's your final judgment there,
Yeah, so
Ethan?
again, this movie's perfect.
Oh,
I will always
nice.
enjoy it.
Nice.
And I guess the same went with me with Kerr. I didn't really have to do watching the movie. I just kind of just filled out the notes and stuff. I would say this movie, though, there are some things that aren't really appropriate for today's time.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
There was quite a few things that
I got you. But we let it live where it lives.
that's
We're
right.
not gonna. Yeah.
I won't dive into that,
The
though,
pick.
but-
The pick scene probably is a little less sensitive than it used to be, but it's still funny. So we'll just go with that. So, well, I'm with Ethan and the Movie Hound. Great movie. I can watch it anytime. It's one of those. We maybe have to do a show on this one of these times. But if you pick 10 movies where anytime you see it pop on TV or someone's watching it, you sit down and watch too.
Yep.
Doesn't matter what part of the movie it's in. You could be in the middle. You could be at the beginning. You could be at the end. You'll still watch the last 10 minutes, the first hour, whatever it is. So this is one of those for me. I'll always watch it if it comes on. So a great movie. So 3 great movies and Rob a little tepid, but it's fine.
Yeah, it's okay.
He'll still laugh. He laughed the whole time. So
I did. I liked it.
all right, fans, if you'd like to support the show, take a second to hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already, and then share Totally 80s and 90s Recall with a friend so we can spread the fun and nostalgia far and wide throughout the galaxy, as it appears. Also, you can reach out to the show on Twitter or X, whatever you call it. Subscribe to our Facebook page to interact and get updates about the show, or message us on Instagram or TikTok. We also have a YouTube channel so you can see all of us live in all our glory, and all of these links will be included in the show notes.
Yeah, and calling all retro rebels. Do you have a nasty case of the 80s and 90s nostalgic fever? If so, we've got the cure. Dave and I are ready to vaccinate you with epic tunes and righteous vibes. It's time to clear the cache of fake smiles and download some authentic joy. Prepare yourself to be transported to a dimension of pure 80s euphoria. Visit Totally 80s 90s Recall at podbean.com, and Dave and I will have you saying, like whatever, quicker than Pac-Man can gobble down a pile of power pellets. Now, if the internet has you saying, I declare, don't get your knickers in a twist, send us an email at 80s90srecall at gmail.com.
Too close.
Consider Dave and I your idea incubators. Step into our thought hatchery while we attempt to reverse engineer the taste of unicorn tears.
Why would the internet have anyone say, I declare? That doesn't make it. Okay, what do you got, Kurt?
Ooh, we almost got canceled in the
We
middle of the
almost
show.
immediately. Terrible.
All righty now, ladies and gentlemen. Now is the time for you to pull your Winnebago over to the side of the road, go wherever you get your podcast, and subscribe to Totally 80s and 90s Recall. Rate us 5 stars and write us a review. so we can continue to bring you some of this out of the world content.
Content.
Yeah, words are hard again.
It's tough. I got it.
It's a controversy.
Also, we have merchandising. If you are looking for some gift ideas for that Druish princess that you're trying to impress,
yes,
or something for your father's, brother's, nephew's, cousin's former roommate, we have our merch store. You can visit through our website with lots of cool items that they will love.
Is our totally 80s and 90s recall flamethrower up on the site yet?
I don't know. They're working it through legal.
Through legal, yes.
I think we should get a sheet too, because someone should go to sleep with our faces on a sheet they're sleeping with.
Wow,
don't you think?
That would be
leave my face
fantastic.
Off. I would like to be face off.
Face off. That's twice today.
Can you imagine a pillow with our faces on? Oh man!
Now, if it was a pillow, I'd cuddle up with that.
I'm gonna put a challenge out there. So if there's a company that happens to be listening that makes those kind of things,
yes,
and they were to make a sheet for us
for
with
us.
our images on them,
yeah,
send it to us. We'll help. We'll like advertise for you.
I'll tell you this: if someone can just design something like that online and send it to us, we'll put it up on our website. It'll just it'll say totally 80s 90s recall the sheet, and it'll just have mine and Rob's smiling face. It's bedtime. So all right, well, Ethan, thank you for being on the show with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Did you have a good time?
I did have a good time.
You did have a good time. Do you have anything else you want to add before you sign off today?
I guess the only other thing I did have was mentioned earlier, again, the Spaceballs sequels in the works.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Josh Gad, right?
Josh Gad starring and Mel Brooks producing.
Nice. You think Gad will be barf now? I didn't know that when I made that, so I wasn't cheating.
No, that was good.
And the question is, are they going to bring back other people as well? Like
they can't bring back all of them.
I know, unfortunately.
Can't bring Joan Rivers back.
I know, unfortunately, not everybody, but the ones that are alive, are they going to bring them back? Because that's the question.
Mel Brooks is like 95, so I don't know if he can go through a whole shoot. Yeah, 98. So, all right, Rob, do you have any closing thoughts for us today?
I do. I want to read a closing thought that I took from a website called KeithAndTheMovies.com.
Well, thank you, Keith.
So this is a closing thought from Keith.
Thanks, Keith.
He says, as much as I love the 80s and 90s and have a soft spot for so many movies from the decade, I would be dishonest if I didn't admit that Spaceballs hasn't aged particularly well. It goes without saying that effects are well below today's standard, but that's expected and easy to look past. In fact, you could easily argue that the old-fangled visuals are part of the charm. But at times, it's the humor itself that feels terribly out of date. Will any younger viewers recognize Michael Winslow and the Doublemint twins? And Brooks sometimes gets a little lazy, leaning too much on juvenile humor, often filled with cheap double entendres. While there is an inconsistency to the comedy, there are also times where you can't help but enjoy the unbridled goofiness. I still laugh at Pizza the Hut, the wise pony-eared yogurt, and Dark Helmet's collection of oversized headgear. We get other really fun jokes that break the fourth wall and poke fun at filmmaking, merchandising, and big franchises. Spaceballs first hit the theater during the 10th anniversary of the original Star Wars. Over time has developed a fairly devout cult following, despite hardly being considered some of Mel Brooks' best work. For me, the nostalgic pull is undeniable even after all these years. So I thought that was a
we're gonna have to start previewing his closing thoughts. You're gonna bash it at the end too.
No, I think that last line is true. For me, the nostalgic pull is undeniable even after all these years. But some of it hasn't aged well, as our guest today has pointed out.
You haven't aged well. All right, you go fishing.
None of us have. What are you talking about?
Why don't you go fish in a boat?
Fish in a boat.
Let's go fish in a boat. Hey.
All right. Well, our journey this week has shown us that evil doesn't always triumph because good wasn't quite as dumb as Dark Helmet thought. However, Spaceballs is absolutely awesome, despite what Keith and Rob want to weigh in. So we hope you've enjoyed our look back at this 1987 classic film. If you're looking for more nostalgia, go back and check out some of our previous episodes. In fact, this time last year, we debuted another 80s movie comedy classic, National Lampoon's Vacation. So that's a good one. Finally, we'd like to thank all of our listeners, whether first-timers or subscribers, for hanging out with Rob, Kurt, Ethan, and I for an hour or so. And hopefully we provided you with some great laughs, great memories, great everything. And don't forget to tune in for all new episodes of Totally 80s and 90s Recall every Tuesday.
What are we doing next time?
Ooh, next time we are going back on the Billboard charts. We're looking at the Billboard Alternative Airplay charts in the 1990s. We're going to have a special guest on, and we're going to chop up some music. We're going to have a good time.
That'll be fun.
So homework for Rob. Rob loves homework. So lots to do.
I do. I love it.
He loves it. I've made it easy for you, but yeah.
Look at that. No, I don't know what that says about what you think of me. Huh? You have to make it easy.
I don't have to make it easy. I've just made it easy for you.
Oh.
So you've had a busy summer. You go to lots of camping. You got lots of things going on. So
He thinks I'm an idiot.
I'm trying to ease his. What's that
fine.
from? Field of Dreams. Ease his pain.
You
That's
don't
what.
have to ease my
Yeah,
pain.
that's you. All right.
I believe
so-
you're adding to it.
Yeah, that's fine. Well, do you have anything else, Rob?
I have nothing.
Fancy goodbye.
No fancy goodbyes.
Boom. Oh, I wish
that is hard.
I wish I was eating out of a bucket right now too. Slop
Eating out
of
a
barf.
bucket.
His Alpo or whatever he's got.
Barf. Barf. By the way, Bon Jovi.
Slippery when wet.
I didn't know. I didn't know they got that record up in space, but they got it. Maybe it was in a time capsule.
I knew it. I'm surrounded by assholes.